Let me ask you something. What do you say to yourself when no one's around? Like, really, when no one's watching, when the room is silent, and when the phone is down. It's just you and your own voice echoing inside your head. What does that voice sound like? Because here's something we rarely talk about. The most powerful conversations you ever have in your life is the one you have with yourself. And if you're not careful, that voice will shape you, word by word, belief by belief, until one day you're living in a version of yourself you never questioned, but have always reinforced. Welcome back to Hard Truths, the podcast where we strip the noise, challenge the way you think, and rebuild what really matters: your mind, your voice, and your life. So today, we're digging into something subtle but dangerous: your language. It's not the stuff you post, not the stuff you talk about in a meeting, but the very words you whisper to yourself. So let's get into it. Let's start here. Most people think words are just labels, descriptions of what's already happening, okay? But that's the lie. You see, words create direction. They aren't reflections of reality. They're instructions for your brain. An example, have you ever caught yourself saying things like, "I'm so lazy," "I never follow through," or "I'm always messing up"? You're not just venting, you're building. You're laying bricks in the walls of your identity. And your brain? That damn thing is taking notes every time, every syllable. And this is where neuroplasticity kicks in. See, your brain is literally wired to follow patterns. The more you repeat a phrase, the more automatic that neural pathway becomes. So when you say things like, "I'm not good at this," enough times, your brain will filter life to prove you right. Now listen, this isn't about plastering fake affirmations on your bathroom mirror, okay? It's deeper than that. This is about catching the casual self-curses you whisper. Things like, "I'm a mess," "I'm so awkward," or "of course this always happens to me." You see, those statements aren't harmless at the moment, but they are programming. So pause right now and ask yourself, what's a phrase I've repeated so many times I've forgotten it's even optional? Because that's the script we've got to challenge. So let's break this down psychologically. In identity theory, your self-concept is the internal blueprint you use to define who you are. And guess what? It gets built out of language. See, you repeat something long enough, it stops being a one-off. It becomes an identity. So you say things like, "I'm just not a morning person," or things like, "I suck at relationships." And boom, you've cemented a belief. And what makes it more dangerous is how we disguise it. See, we wrap it in humor, in sarcasm, in "I'm just being real" with yourself. But every time you casually label yourself, you're tightening the leash on your own potential. You're not lazy. You're untrained. You're not flaky. You're unpracticed. You're not broken. You're just repeating what someone once said, or what you started saying when you didn't even know better. So here's the thing. Your brain doesn't fact check. It just listens, and it follows orders. That's what it's meant to do. So if your internal script is rooted in fear, shame, or outdated labels, you'll build a whole life inside that prison. So let me get real with you. I used to say things like, "I'm not consistent," "I always quit when things get hard," or "I'm not like those locked in disciplined people." And the worst part, I said it like it was no big deal. I'd laugh, I'd downplay it, I'd toss it out there like I was self aware. But inside, I was reinforcing it over and over and over again. And here's a fact for you: self deprecating humor has become one of the most common ways people bond, especially in younger generations. A 2020 study published by the Journal of Personality and Individual Differences found that self deprecation was frequently used to enhance social connection and appear more approachable or avoid perceived arrogance. But here's the kicker: your subconscious doesn't get the joke. Your nervous system doesn't laugh with you, it just listens and it just learns. So, yeah, you might be lightening the mood, but you're also hardwiring doubt. So, for me, one day I had to ask myself, what if none of this is me? What if I'm just repeating some version of myself that I've outgrown? You see that question? That changed everything. Because once you realize the voice in your head might be lying, you stop letting it speak for you. Let's bring this all together. In cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, there's a concept loop that is simply this: your thoughts, which lead to creating emotions, which drive behaviors, then which reinforce beliefs. So where do those thoughts live? They live in language. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't do this, I'm not built for this, I'm always behind, you're reinforcing a loop that gets harder and harder to break every time. And when we add in the reticular activating system, RAS, your brain's internal gatekeeper, it filters your reality. So if you say, I'm not enough, guess what? Your brain will ignore evidence that you are. See, it will spotlight the failure. It will mute the wins. And it will shrink your confidence to match your language. But here's the hope. Since language wires you, can't you use it to rewire you? See, you change the input. You shift the filter. You start saying, I'm learning. I'm building capacity. I've changed before I can change again. And your brain starts scanning the world to match that script. That's how language becomes not just a reflection of who you are, but a catalyst for who you're becoming. Now, again, I want to spend a bit of time talking about things that feel harmless. You see, the jokes, the offhand comments, the I'm such an idiot moments we just laughed off. See, a 2018 study from behavioral brain research found that even ironic, self-deprecating negative statements increase activity in the brain regions associated with emotional, memory, and self-judgment. Translation? Even when you're joking, your body takes it absolutely seriously. You're literally making yourself weaker with your own words. It's not harmless. It's identity programming. So next time you go and say, I'm just bad at this, catch it. That's a lie. Your comfort zone told you. Your nervous system believes repetition, not intention. So stop reinforcing stories that keep you small. All right, let's flip the switch. Here's your challenge. For the next 48 hours, you're on language detox. No more casual self-destruction. Every time you hear yourself say something that doesn't match who you want to become, I want you to pause. I want you to catch it, and I want you to replace it. For example, things like, I always do this. I want you to go and say, that was the old me. I'm learning a better way. And I'm not good at that. I want you to go and tell yourself, it's not natural yet, but I'm building it. You see, it doesn't have to sound corny. It just has to stop being cruel. Because if you don't rewrite the story, you'll relive the same chapter forever. So here's the truth. Words build worlds. And the world you live in, the one between your ears, is shaped by the lines you repeat in silence. So if you're ever feeling stuck, blocked, small, it's not because you're incapable. It's because your language hasn't caught up with your potential. So change the script, challenge the words, speak like someone who deserves more. Because honestly, you do. This is Hard Truths. Tag me at DannyLyvin, DANNYLYVIN, and tell me, what's the phrase you're done repeating? Until next time, edit the language, reinforce the truth, and rebuild who you are. Take care.